Mahomet-Seymour Board of Education, and I'll call it to order. It is 7:30 p.m. on Monday, October 28th. This time I'd like to remind everyone who's a guest to please sign in, remind all of us to silence our cell phones, and remind the visitors in order to facilitate an effective meeting. We ask anyone who wishes to make comments to the board to read the visitor guidelines found on the table outside the door, fill out the attached orange participant form, and get those to Dawn. Roll call, please.
Giles.
Here.
Keith.
Here.
Hendricks.
Here.
Schultz. Here. Larson. Here. Hennessy.
Here.
McComb.
Here, roll call, or pledge, please. I was roll call. You do pledge.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, attached you will see the agenda, and the meeting tonight was asked and called by 3 board members to talk about the item on the agenda related to Dr. Hall's goals and the contract. Dr. Hall wishes to extend her regrets. She is on a trip that was planned several weeks ago, and she had prepaid airline tickets and took advantage of the long weekend and some vacation time to get away. So she is not with us tonight. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as it is presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the agenda is approved. Is there anything on public comment?
No.
Okay. So, since Dr. Hall couldn't be here tonight, and there was concern that October is the month under her contract that we're supposed to talk about her goals as it relates to district goals and her goals for the year. And we've had that on some previous agendas. We weren't able to get that in. There was a thought that we would do it November 4th, but that doesn't meet the contract language of having it by the end of October. So when I found out she couldn't be here, and the meeting had already been called, the attorneys prepared an addendum, which, if you read it, basically gives us to the end of November to have the goal discussion with the goal to have it on November 4th. That's a study session. The agenda is a little lighter that night, and we're anticipating being able to get the discussion in that evening. So in order to stay, I know there was concern about the contract language and how to deal with that, and so that's what the addendum was prepared to deal with. And my recommendation is that we approve that addendum tonight. Is there a motion to do that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the addendum.
So Max, did you draft this with our attorney?
I talked to the attorney about what it needed to say, the attorney drafted it.
Okay, can you tell me what the purpose of the second and third whereas?
I think there was a desire to show that, this wasn't a conscious effort to disregard the contract. If some things came up that made it difficult to do this year on time. I think that's why that's in there.
Why was this not prioritized?
It was prioritized. We had it on an agenda, but not everyone was here, and out of a courtesy, we thought it was appropriate to not discuss it until everyone was here. Because what our tradition has been is we've emailed people and asked them their availability for meetings and when things are come up, and like we had a meeting where we didn't have 2 people here. And in order to be reflective and inclusive, we wanted everyone to be here.
Well, in point of fact, you knew I wouldn't be at the July 15th.
I did,
So,
about you.
I just
Ken
want to
didn't
clarify.
notify anybody up here.
I would like to strike the second paragraph because it reads to me like somehow that was not a known entity and it was on the agenda knowing that I was gone.
I didn't
So-
say anything about you, Megan.
I'm just saying I would like to strike the second paragraph because I don't think that's accurate.
I don't know that I want to rewrite what the attorney's prepared tonight. I wouldn't recommend we do that.
Well, also I went through and checked the minutes and the agendas and it doesn't look like the 19th had a spot for us to discuss this nor October 21st. So I noticed that one of the things we're supposed to do is memorialize this tonight as being accurate. I don't believe that the third paragraph is accurate either.
I just don't understand the purpose of the second and third paragraph. I think we should strike both of those.
From my standpoint, there has been a thought process put forth that we change things around for no reason. And I think it's important to make sure that it's memorialized that there was reasons on why this was changed. So when the attorney and I discussed it, that's why that went in.
So my question about prioritizing is why, if we had this plan for the 19th, 16th, and 21st, why didn't we make that agenda item number 1 since we were contractually obligated to do this?
Because I believe we were doing that in closed session, and closed session is typically at the end of the meeting.
What exception does this fall under for closed session?
That would be performance and evaluation of the employee.
I didn't
So-
think we were gonna evaluate in any way. I thought it was just setting future goals. Do we evaluate in a goal setting?
In some ways, sure.
Is it the
You're
formal evaluation? No, but there's an evaluation of where we're at and what's going on in the district.
But the evaluation needs to be about a specific employee, not about where we're at in the district.
We can make that decision when we look at November 4th as to whether we want to do that in open or closed session.
Okay. The 4th, I'm not going to be available for the 4th. I don't know if anyone else is out on the 4th. I'd like to suggest we move it to the 18th meeting.
I won't be here.
On the 18th.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second on the addendum. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I guess my big concern here is that had Colleen not brought this up on the 21st, last week and said something about this, this would have passed us by. And when she brought it up, we were told that you and Lori and Dr. Hall had decided that you would just move it to the 4th.
And that was because of the length of the agenda that we had.
No, I understand, but
And we were here till almost 1 in the morning.
I agree. However, when we're talking about something that's contractually obligated, I don't believe that the 3 of you have the authority to make a decision that breaches the contract.
In talking to the attorney, he would say that contractually obligated is pretty strong language. And that in his mind, the contract stays intact, whether we can do it in October or November. I asked him for the sake of making sure we had all our I's dotted and all our T's crossed, we prepared that.
Then why do we need the addendum?
The abundance of caution.
Well, I think other places in the contract, like for instance, when we evaluate her, there is language in the contract that says if the evaluation is not done by the end of March, then it does not have any implications on the contract at large. This particular section of the contract does not include that same language. And I think that's
But it
why,
doesn't say that it's in breach of her contract if
That's
you
right.
don't have the goals done by October 30th.
I think if you read
It does say that with the evaluation, if we don't have
No.
the evaluation.
but it says that the contract is not void in full if we don't finish her goals in her evaluation, or in her evaluation. It actually has language in there about that. In this particular section, it does not include that same language. So that would make me think and understand that in this case, not getting this done actually is problematic for the contract.
But it doesn't say that either in that paragraph.
Well, it
So
does say,
you're assuming that it has something there that it doesn't.
It's just a different interpretation on both parts.
And you know what?
I would agree, I don't
And
think we
the
need
fact
the
that we've
agenda at all.
got, and the fact that we have a different interpretation is why I had the addendum prepared. Quite frankly, the
Because
fact
that's
that
been
3
consistent.
board members decided that we needed to meet tonight without
I
really
agree.
checking with anybody on their schedules. Let me believe this was a hot topic, and we probably better make sure we have it legally covered, so that's what we did.
I don't think we need the addendum at all. We had a verbal agreement from Lindsay that said that she was fine waiting.
Right.
And so I don't think we actually needed an addendum.
Well, now that the lawyers have weighed in, they obviously think there is an addendum required, so I think we need to move forward with the addendum, but I don't think that these 3 paragraphs that have facts that are not accurate need to be included.
I'm not an attorney and I don't wanna rewrite the document.
So I'll make the motion to remove the second and third whereas paragraph, and in the third paragraph, the third whereas, or the fourth whereas paragraph, from the line with the intention of, to scratch that for the remainder.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second on the floor. There's a desire to amend the motion and second to do what? Remove which paragraphs?
To remove the second and third whereas paragraphs under the witness section, and in the fourth whereas paragraph, cut the line starting with the intention of.
Because one of the reasons that was given about having the goals was to have all the board members present, and I think that that's an important thing. And so it sounds like Ken can't make the 4th, it sounds like Merle can't make the 18th. So maybe since we have the end of November, we need to schedule a meeting where everybody can be here. It seems like this is.
I don't think we need to schedule another meeting. We can figure it out either here or we're gonna have to change it till the end of the year or something. We've got meetings scheduled. I mean, I don't know, we had like 6 meetings in the last month and a half. We don't need another meeting. We can figure this out.
Part of the problem is these goals should have been set before the school year started because they're goals for this school year. I mean, if we keep pushing them back, I don't know what kind of goals we can set for her.
Here's the problem, okay? We talk that we want to work together. This was not a sign of working together. And frankly, I was like, wow, I had made a commitment to a young man to be at his football game tonight. It's his last game. But I came because I was elected by the community to be here. I don't know, everyone else came, but you might not have had a quorum. That was unkind, okay? There was, so in our face, fine. But I mean, this is ridiculous. We're tit and tat. How are we going to move forward when we are in the position that we are of this? I mean, come on. We have things scheduled, we try to bend, we try to break, we make priorities of policies to go forward and that kind of thing, and we're not working effectively, okay? We need to make an addendum to this contract. I will go through in case people can't remember, we have a meeting 2 weeks from tonight. We have an annual conference that we all should be attending because it's the best way to learn about how to be on a board and participate in a board and know how to enhance your community through your board. We have community engagement scheduled in December, and we have a board meeting on the 16th, and then it's the end of the year. I mean, we need to use our time wisely. We have an agenda, and it keeps getting fluctuated to try to make people happy, and you know, I have people say, well, we're trying to make people happy. We have an agenda, this is what we're here to do tonight, let's take care of it. There's no reason we should be here past 8:15. We have a meeting to talk about this. She had a trip planned. That was rude. That was just
It might have been
disrespectful.
nice had we known that. No, we agreed as a board to let people know when we were going out of town. She did not let us know that. We would not have scheduled
Well, that didn't work for
tonight.
everybody since we got elected because we had a meeting where Ken wasn't here. So that's how we got where we are now.
But I believe after Ken.
Did you ask her if she would be here tonight? Did you?
I did not.
Well,
She could have replied to what we sent her and said, I'll be out of town, can we do this another
she
night?
could have,
She
okay?
didn't do that either.
But you didn't ask her either. It's a level of respect that works both ways, Megan.
I understand, Lori, but when we set a meeting, if she's not gonna be here, she could have said, I'm actually not going to be here.
Nobody asked who was gonna be here.
Well,
Three people
because
set the meeting was set.
The
That's
agreement,
how the rule works.
it is how the rule works.
All right,
But it was based upon being told that 2 people and the superintendent had made a decision that the board was not gonna keep what is memorialized in the contract. At that point, what are we supposed to do if we are trying to fulfill our role as board members? Contracts are kind of particular and pretty important. And so you can't just change a contract when you want to. I'd like to understand from the attorney what precedent this addendum makes to all the other contracts if there's the case where we don't get something else done in time.
well, quite frankly, I'm to the point where, like the Village of Mahomet, where they bring their attorney at every meeting, and I'm about to the point where I'm gonna say, let's do that.
I think the contracts are extremely important, but even more important is the human side. On this thing, the human side got dropped completely.
I agree, when we were told that she wasn't going to do it and that they had decided to breach the contract.
They didn't decide to
The
breach the
attorney who's not here will
Breach
tell
the
you there was no
contract.
breach of contract.
Lindsay had made an agreement, she even said that night in closed session, she said, it's,
That's right.
we can't get it done, it's fine for us to do it later.
She said, Max, Lori, and I decided we're doing this on the 4th. There wasn't a discussion. There wasn't time for people to weigh in.
Because
There
it was
wasn't-
after
It was
midnight.
12:37 when we got done that night, so
I
I'm sure
remember,
it
I was here. I know what time it was when we got done.
Does anyone
I'm
have anything-
saying-
I just wanna be clear, there was no breach of contract, because that's not what the contract says. So I think that if you have an agreement from the person who has signed the contract that says they're willing to wait, then that's fine. There's no legal issue there.
Okay.
I
The
mean, that's-
legal issue is if the goals aren't set in accordance with the contract, the goals aren't valid. The goals
What are you
serve.
talking
Oh, come
about?
on,
The goals
the
aren't
goals aren't
valid.
valid, we set
They're not.
goals all the time.
The goals aren't valid? So if she sets the goals on November 1st, they're not valid?
Yes.
Oh, come on,
I don't-
Ken, God, that is just ridiculous.
According
I
to
mean,
the
that is
contract.
so inflexible. According to the contract says, yes, it says that she's supposed to have it done by the end of October, but nowhere does it say that we're in breach of that contract if she doesn't have those goals set.
It
And we've
says
tried
it has
multiple
to be done.
times
It
throughout the
says-
summer to get it done, but because we've had such inefficient meetings like this, we can't get it done. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Like
I
I
can't
said,
believe
do
it's
we
such a dysfunctional
Do we
board.
need to bring the attorney to the meetings? I'm beginning to think so. Because I'm,
You know, and as we're up here and demonstrating this, you know, we have an opportunity to continue a legacy of greatness in our community. If this is what's gonna happen, we're gonna lose good teachers. We're gonna lose good administrators. That's what I'm afraid of. It takes everybody that works in this school and the community to make it all work. And we have to lead with that example, all of us, myself included.
right now, we've got a motion and a second to approve the addendum. We've got a request that we amend that to take out a couple whereases and change the third whereas. The people who made the motion and the second have interest in amending the motion and second to do that.
I'm okay with that.
What's the question?
My motion's on the floor right now.
Yeah, the amendment is on the floor.
To strike the 2 whereas is the current.
Which whereas is because there's way more than.
I am hesitant to do that. In my mind, it should be memorialized that there were issues and we attempted to get this done on time.
For what?
Because quite frankly, I'm tired of the rhetoric. They're bending the rules, they're breaking the rules, they changed the rules for no reason. So I'm getting a little sensitive to that and I want a reason published.
The reason if we don't do it, and then we don't get these goals done by October 31st, we're gonna be in breach of contract.
Okay, so we got an addendum to fix that, and a motion and a second to accept.
No, my motion is on the floor. Are you as the president not recognizing my motion?
I recognize your motion. I asked the folks who made the motion if they're willing to amend it.
You need to
Okay.
vote on the motion that's on the floor and then you can go to the
I
next.
didn't know we could add a motion while we already had a motion on the floor, but okay, so Ken's got a motion that we change the document. That we eliminate the first 2 whereases and change the third in the way he described, which I'm assuming Dawn's got that written down. Is there a second on Ken's motion?
I believe Colleen seconded.
Colleen seconded,
And
okay.
it's the second and third.
Further discussion on the amendment, on the motion to change the document. Okay, let's have a roll call vote on the changes. This is whether we should change the document or not. This is not whether we should accept the document.
Hendricks,
No.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Larson,
No.
Giles,
No.
Keefe,
Yes.
McComb.
No. So that is defeated. So we're back to the original motion on the addendum. Is there any further discussion on that?
Yes, I would like it on the record that I believe that the information in this addendum is factually incorrect. And that if we're gonna memorialize this and make it part of the contract, I believe we're putting the contract at risk because these are not factually correct statements.
Okay? You got that noted?
Yes.
Thank you. I think the attorney would disagree, but whatever.
I'm actually inclined to vote for this because I want to extend to accommodate. I too, I don't believe that we were planning on discussing this on October 21st.
The
Because we got all
agenda, the
these
agenda
things.
shows that
Oh,
we
we-
were not. It was not a part of the closed session agenda, so we can't talk about that if it's not on the agenda. It wasn't on the
There was a
agenda.
discussion as to whether we should have October 21st, and the ruling was, it was, we knew it was gonna be a long meeting. So we backed it off the agenda. Any other comments? A roll call vote on the addendum, please.
Hennessy,
No.
Schultz,
No,
Keith,
No.
Giles,
Yes.
Hendricks,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
McComb.
Yes. Okay. Next item on the agenda is whether or not to have a goal discussion. I would recommend that we
I think the
postpone
goal
that
discussion
towards
is
November 4th when
Wednesday.
Dr. Hall can be here.
It was never our intent to have the discussion without Dr. Hall. Had we known that she wasn't gonna be here, we would not have called the meeting for this night. We were just trying to make sure that we were doing what we were contractually obligated to do.
There should never be a meeting called without a conversation with the superintendent. She is our CEO, period.
She's actually not a member of the board though, and that the rules of the board for calling special meetings are that the board members call it to the board members. That's actually how the rules have words and meanings and matters.
But we
But
wouldn't
sometimes
have it
courtesy,
without her
like-
here.
Like Merle says, is
We
sometimes
asked,
people are
we
more
went through
vocal.
Lindsay to schedule this meeting. Let's be real clear what happened here. Colleen asked Lindsay and Dawn to schedule this meeting. That gave,
Let's be real clear, that email went to myself, Lindsay, and Dawn.
well,
I
was Lindsay aware of the email?
Yes.
So Lindsay read the email and understood that she was not gonna be here. At that point in time, she could have said, I am not going to be here. She didn't tell us she was leaving
Nobody
before
seemed
that.
to care when they scheduled the meeting if anybody could be here except the 3 people that scheduled it.
Don't believe that that's true.
I think
But
that's true
I
because I
never would
certainly.
have, we never would have called it if we knew she was out of town.
But
And
there wasn't a
she's our
question, there wasn't a
employee,
question asked.
so-
You know,
as our employee, she should,
I've been,
Inform us if
I've
she's
been on
gonna
the
not
board
be there.
12 years. There's been lots of special meetings called by lots of different people. Okay, there's always been a survey, a consultation go out saying we want to have a special meeting to deal with whatever the topic is, what's everyone's availability. Never once in 12 years has that been dictated. Well, it has now. So,
And I'm going to reiterate, it's because of how you presented the decision that was made that we felt put the district at risk for breach of contract. It's as
We know.
simple as that. We're not trying to do anything here other than make sure that the district is protected with what it's supposed to be contractually obligated to do.
we are now protected.
Oh, you talking over me, if I could just make a request that you stop doing that. It seems like every meeting, I'm not quite finished and you begin speaking. I feel like I would appreciate if you would stop doing that, please.
I apologize, I thought you were done.
Thank you.
For the record, it was you who let us know that Dr. Hall was not gonna be here, and you did that on Friday. And when was the email sent to Max and Dr. Hall?
it was on Tuesday,
I thought it was Wednesday, but it might have been Tuesday.
it might have been Wednesday.
Okay, if there's nothing further tonight, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
further discussion?
Are we not gonna discuss the goals that she has suggested, or the goals from last year?
I think we wait till she's here.
I agree.
Not without her here.
We would want to not have our 8th board member.
Ken, would you like to have a performance evaluation of yourself if you weren't present?
This isn't a performance evaluation, this is the setting of goals.
It is.
The evaluation happens when?
How can
When
we,
does the evaluation
You
happen?
know,
When does the evaluation happen?
And it's
Because
free.
it did happen in April this year for some mysterious reason, but it's not supposed to happen in April. When is it supposed to happen?
In February.
in February?
In February.
That's in minutes
Why
and
did-
duly noted.
Why did the board not have that in?
I think we adjourned the meeting. You made a motion and a
I'm
second
done.
to adjourn, is
I'm
that
done.
right?
we did make a motion in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Bye.
Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.